Most people try to improve their nutrition by overcomplicating things. But if you want to feel better, think better, and move better, you've got to start simple. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the first 4 steps of the Nutrition Mastery Ladder, which is a framework that I created based on my experience, education, and real-world client results. These 4 habits form the foundation to better eating and better nutrition. They're simple, they're powerful, and when you get these right, everything else is going to get easier. You're going to learn the why, the what, and the how much for each of these 4 crucial habits. All right, you guys, I am super excited about this. So I started my fitness training journey back in beginning of 2016, January of 2016. So we're coming up on a complete 9 years here at the end of 2025. And I realized very early on that if I only coached people in fitness, then I was going to have a limited amount of impact on the people that I coached, because nutrition plays such a vital role, and nutrition is, for a lot of people, the most difficult thing to get right when it comes to their health and fitness journey. And so that's when I started to learn more about nutrition, get certified in coaching nutrition. When was that? Maybe 5-6 years ago, and then really implementing it into my practice and my clients and the 10-week transformation. And without a doubt, the thing that frustrates me the most about the health and fitness and nutrition industry is the overcomplication. Is that even a word? Overcomplication of things, how people overcomplicate it. We think about all the nuances, about all of the things that are really small and might be helpful, but we're really stepping over dollars, picking up pennies in a lot of scenarios. And so I want to get back to the basics. I really believe firmly in simplicity is key, because complexity is the enemy of execution. And if we can break things down, make it simple, make it graspable and implementable, then we're much more likely to actually do it. And it's the simple things that when done consistently are actually going to lead to results. And so the Nutrition Mastery Ladder is a framework that I created probably about a year ago. It's kind of been how I've been coaching all along, but I actually created a framework for it about a year ago as the step-by-step approach for people who are kind of coming from a place of, I don't really know how to eat healthy at all, and how to sequentially improve their eating habits from basic to mastery, from basic into elite. And so today is going to be laying the foundation. Today is going to be talking about the first 4 steps of that Nutrition Mastery Ladder that starts off simple and then gets just a little bit more complex and a little bit more advanced step by step. And the thing that I'm really excited about today is I'm not just going to name the step and name the habit. I'm actually going to dive into the why it is the step that it is, what you should actually be eating to abide by the habit or abide by the step, and how much of it you should be eating and actually get results that you want to see when it comes to your body composition, when it comes to your heart health, your brain health, and all that kind of stuff. So get ready to dive into these 4 crucial habits that lay the foundation for your health and for your eating habits. But before I do so, I would love to invite you guys to join the next 10-week transformation starting October 6th and going until December 12th. This is the last 10WT of the calendar year of 2025. And I know a lot of you guys have made a lot of great progress on your goals in 2025. And the last thing that you want to do is let the holiday season get the best of you and eradicate and turn back all of the results and all the progress that you've made thus far. So let's finish the year strong. Let's not just finish the year like being pretty good. Let's finish the year going into 2026 feeling amazing, feeling like we really put an exclamation point at the end of 2025 and ready to go into 2026. So if you want to join me, go to nickcarrier.com/10WT to lock in your spot. Here in person in Nashville, we have the 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 6 p.m. and the Elite. Those of you guys who are listening who are 10WT alumni, like, why not give the Elite a try this upcoming time to put an exclamation point at the end of 2025? Like, join the Elite so we can actually start to really implement these 4 habits that I'm getting ready to dive into in the Nutrition Mastery Ladder. So go to nickcarrier.com/10WT to sign up for the regular 10WT and also to sign up for the Elite. Registration opens September 3rd. Let's dive into it. All right, the first step of the Nutrition Mastery Ladder, the first step of the sequential step-by-step approach from going from a basic to elite, basic to mastery with your nutrition habits, number 1 is eat real food. Eat real food means not processed foods, not foods that you go into the grocery store, you pick up a package and you read the back of it and there's 10, 20, 30 ingredients on the ingredient label. It's like, I don't even know what that is. A Brussels sprout's a Brussels sprout. An apple's an apple. A banana's a banana. A piece of broccoli's a piece of broccoli, right? If we can eat one ingredient foods, that's going to solve the majority of our health issues. And so that's the why. Because if we can really eat one ingredient foods for 75, 80, 85, 90, 95% of what goes into our mouth, I promise you, whatever health issue you have that might be going on is going to be resolved simply from you eating primarily real foods and not processed foods, because processed foods are inflammatory and real foods are anti-inflammatory, and just real foods are nutrient rich and low in calories, while processed foods are nutrient poor and calorie rich, if you will. And so what are the different things that you should be eating? You know, all the different kinds of real foods that are out there. You want to eat a variety so you get a good array of micronutrients and a balanced diet of protein, fats, and carbs, the 3 macronutrients. Think veggies, fruits, meats, eggs, grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, that sort of thing. And then how much of real food should you eat? I mean, this is kind of a classic 80-20 rule, right? Like at least 80% of your food should be real food. But if you do more, then that's just going to be better. And then how I also oftentimes think about it with my 10-week transformation clients is if you can make 17 out of your 21 meals every single week as meals including only real foods, that is an unbelievable win. If you can make 80% of your meals, 17 out of 21, that means you look at your plate and every single item on it is a real food. Every single item on it is basically a 1 ingredient food. You're going to be soaring in the right direction. And so step number 1 is eating real food for all of those reasons, but also just think about how simple it is. You can very quickly look at your plate and determine whether or not these are 1 ingredient foods or if it's from a package and it's got a bunch of crap in it. And so eating real food is not just super beneficial and will really move the needle, but it's super simple to grasp, understand, and implement. Step number 2 is calorie management. When we're looking to improve our eating habits, eating real food is step number 1. And the great thing about eating real food is because when you eat real food, usually you're probably going to eat higher quality protein sources. Usually you're going to have more fiber in your diet because all processed foods are stripped of their fiber. And if you have those things and just real foods, they're going to be more filling. They're going to be more satiating, and you're going to be less likely to snack on some other things and less likely to overeat the real foods, right? It's very hard to overeat on broccoli. I'm kind of weird sometimes. A lot, I guess. I had a whole bag of broccoli for lunch the other day. My meals are oftentimes not very sexy. Make fun of me, whatever you want to do. I had a chicken breast and a whole bag of broccoli. Broccoli was getting ready to go bad in the fridge, so I wanted to just go ahead and eradicate it. But I also love broccoli. So I had a whole bag of it. A whole bag of broccoli, I don't remember off the top of my head, is like maybe 200 calories. And I had a whole bag of it. And it takes a while to like eat a whole bag of cooked broccoli. All I did is put olive oil, salt, and pepper, roast it in the oven for 20-25 minutes at 400 to 420 degrees, and it's good to go. The reason why I'm saying this is when you eat real food, it's easier to manage your calories because it is very hard to eat 200 calories of broccoli. Think how quickly you can eat something like 200 calories of potato chips or 200 calories of Oreos, 200 calories of goldfish. You name the processed food. It's very easy to overeat on calories because they're so calorically dense, and it's just like they're easier to eat. Like think about how easy it is to eat a goldfish versus eating a piece of broccoli. Like the goldfish, you take a couple of bites and then it just goes down. Broccoli, you got to really chew and work through. And that's kind of how real foods are. And so if you start with real foods, calorie management starts to go ahead and take care of itself on its own. But let's go specifically into calorie management. When you're in a caloric deficit, no matter how you achieve it, like even if you're just eating a bunch of processed and fake foods and things like McDonald's, which I would not recommend, but even if you do that and you're in a caloric deficit, you have the potential to see health benefits. Because if you're in a caloric deficit, then you might have the ability to lose body fat and you might have the ability to lose some inflammation. And those are oftentimes the key drivers to negative health outcomes. And so if you're in a caloric deficit, if your goal is to lose body fat, then a lot of things start to take care of themselves regardless of what kind of foods you are actually eating. So For that reason, calorie management is really important. And just overeating on calories is what allows you to easily put on body fat slowly but surely over time. And that's what's going to lead to a whole host of health issues as well. So how do we eat how do we manage our calories appropriately? Like, what is the what of calorie management? So calories, how do we count calories? We think macronutrients of protein, carbs, and fats. We're not going to dive too deeply into this today because we go much deeper into this during different episodes of the Best You podcast, but protein and carbs, 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of carbs, each of those equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So if we were to take a meal that is 25 grams of protein, let's say 50 grams of carbs, and let's say 20 grams of fat. I'm really setting myself up here where I got to do some math off the top of my head. 25 grams of protein, 20 times 4 is 100 calories. Then if we go 50 grams of carbs, 50 times 4 is 200 calories. So we have 100 and 200 is 300. Then if we have 20 grams of fat, 20 times 9 is 180 calories. So 300 plus 180 is 480 calories in that particular meal of 25 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, 20 grams of fat. If you do that calculation for each of your meals, all of the food that you eat throughout your day, that's what gets to the total number of calories that you eat on any given day. Now, how many calories should we be eating? This is where you start off by determining what's called your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. That helps you determine about how many calories you're currently burning, because then you can determine how many you're currently burning, and then you can aim to eat the same amount if you're just looking to maintain your weight and manage your calories, or you can eat in a slight caloric deficit of maybe 300 to 600 on average per day if your goal is to lose body fat. And your total daily energy expenditure, the number of calories you burn per day, is essentially based off of your age, your weight, your body fat percentage, your gender, and your activity levels. All of those things impact how many calories you're going to burn on a regular basis. And so you can go online and type in TDEE calculator and come up with a rough estimate. And it is going to be a rough estimate, but it's better than nothing. It's a tool that you can use to determine roughly how many calories that you should be eating. So I would really recommend that you do that or have some sense of what that number would be if you have never done that before. And if you want to do the 10-week transformation and you want to do the 10WT Elite, I do that for you, and I program your meal plan based off of the necessary, if you want to lose body fat, the necessary caloric deficit that you want to be in order to see your goals. So if you want to do the Elite, then let's go. nickcarrier.com/10WT. But let's move on to step number 3 of 4. We talked about eating real food, calorie management, and step 3 is eating enough fiber. We're going to get into how much fiber here in a second, but why is fiber so important? If you've been maybe listening to this podcast, some you've probably heard me talk about fiber. If you listen to other nutrition talking heads, then you've probably heard them talk about fiber. I really think fiber is one of the most important things for overall health, for so many different things of health. Number 1, it helps improve your digestion, because there's a couple of types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber absorbs water. So when you eat it, on the way down, it absorbs water and forms a gel-like substance that slows down your digestion, which is helpful for your blood sugar levels, which is helpful for your metabolism as a whole, and it allows for better nutrient absorption. So the nutrients that are in your food actually are able to be used by the body and be absorbed by the body. So that's soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, simply is kind of the type of fiber that maybe what a lot of people think of when they think of fiber. It adds bulk to your stool. It makes your poops better, right? And it helps prevent constipation by promoting motility through digestion. Another great thing about fiber is it can help to decrease cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, then focusing on getting enough fiber in is a huge thing. Another thing is it helps improve your gut microbiome. Just to give you the quick little overview, in our gut, you've probably heard of the term gut microbiome. Our gut microbiome is the millions, I forget if it's millions or billions, but a ton of bacteria in our gut. Some of the bacteria is good, some is bad. We want the good bacteria to outpopulate the bad bacteria. And so we populate the good bacteria by eating probiotic and fermented foods. And then the good bacteria like to feed on prebiotic fiber. And so when we eat fiber, we eat fibrous foods, we feed the good bacteria so the good bacteria stay around and they don't die off. They don't starve to death, if you will. And another thing about the bacteria in our gut is it plays a key role in producing short-chain fatty acids, which helps to improve our immune system, and also making sure that we get enough fiber helps to, for our gut microbiome, helps to reduce inflammation in our digestive system. I just mentioned the short-chain fatty acids. It's such a critical, I wouldn't be able to dive into all the sciencey things about this. I remember reading, oh man, I should have prepared the author of this book, Fiber Fueled, who is the author of it? You can look it up. Fiber Fueled. Great book. Now, he's more of a plant-based person, but he really goes into the research of fiber and how important it is and how important short-chain fatty acids are to our improving our immune system. And I think that is one of the most important things that we can be doing, eating fibrous foods, fruits and vegetables to help improve our immune system. And so if you're eating packaged foods, processed foods, you're not getting enough fiber. And then lastly, what I also mention a lot when it comes to fibers is very satiating, very filling, and therefore helping you manage the calories that you're consuming. Okay, so that's the why behind fiber. A whole bunch of things. Fiber is amazing. What can you do to make sure you're getting enough fiber? Fruits and veggies, for sure. Vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, spinach, you name it. All vegetables are a pretty darn good source of fiber. Fruits are a great source of fiber, in particular, your berries, your blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, but all fruit has some level of fiber as well. Legumes are a great option. I love lentils, chickpeas, beans, edamame, all great sources of fiber. Grains, quinoa, rice, farro, nuts and seeds like chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, almonds, and then just kind of a random outlier, artichoke hearts are something that I love putting in my salads and are a great source of fiber. So I kind of rank your fiber sources in that order: vegetables, fruits, legumes, grains, nuts, and seeds. And why do I rank them in that order? It's basically like a fiber to calorie ratio. How much fiber is in it compared to how many calories are in it? And it's in that order primarily because those are the types of foods that have high fiber with lower amounts of calories. So the fiber to calorie ratio is most beneficial. And then lastly, how much fiber should you be consuming? 25 to 40 grams per day, minimum. And from all of my understanding and my research and my knowledge and my education, you can't overconsume on fiber. You can't eat too much fiber. Eating too much fiber is not bad for you unless you're not consuming any right now. So like, for example, if you're somebody who doesn't eat any fiber right now, then you don't want to just start eating 50 grams of fiber. So let's say you eat currently about 10 grams of fiber per day. Next week, you want to eat about 15 grams of fiber per day. The following week, maybe increase it to 20 grams of fiber per day. The following week, maybe 25 grams of fiber per day. So basically, if you're eating low amounts of fiber, you want to increase the amount of fiber that you eat per day by 5 grams, but on a week-by-week basis. So that is how much fiber that we should be consuming. Before I dive into the fourth and final foundational habit that you should implement in order to really improve your eating habits, I want to remind you that the last 10WT of 2025 goes from October 6th to December 12th, and I would hate for you to miss out. I want you to go into 2026 feeling like a king or a queen. I want you to feel going into 2026 feeling like I mastered the holiday season. I did not let Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays, I did not let it get the best of me. I stayed on track. I held myself accountable. Coach Nick held me accountable. Join us by going to nickcarrier.com/10WT. And if you're a 10WT participant, like, why not do the elite? Why not make this the time that you take things to a whole nother level? Go to nickcarrier.com/10WT to learn more and sign up starting September 3rd. Lastly, fourth step of the foundation building this nutrition mastery ladder is prioritize enough protein. Again, protein and fiber are the two of the things that I talk probably most about when it comes to nutrition on this podcast. So I want to continue to emphasize the importance of it to you guys for a whole lot of reasons. Why? Well, muscle preservation, but muscle preservation not just from the sense of looking good and looking strong and looking lean, but from the sense of your metabolism, because muscle is your metabolic currency. The more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn. But not just the more calories you burn, but from a metabolic standpoint, it's really important because it helps regulate your blood sugar levels, because the more muscle you have, the more glucose can go to your muscle and therefore not turn into stored body fat. And isn't that what we all want and need, right? Like not excessive amounts of stored body fat, because when you have excessive amounts of stored body fat, that's when health issues start to come. Not just to mention, like, most of us don't want excessive amounts of body fat on our body. And so muscle is super important for that. And then kind of along the same lines, muscle is super important because protein is super important because it's most filling. It fills us up. It helps us to manage our calories. One of the things that I hope you're realizing is that most of these steps support each other. If you eat enough fiber, if you eat enough protein, it helps you manage your calories. If you eat real food, it helps you manage your calories. If you eat real foods, you might already start getting enough fiber and protein in, right? So all of these things support each other. And then the what behind protein, there's a lot of different kinds of protein sources, right? Like your meats, obviously, your grass-fed beef, your chicken, your turkey, your fatty fish, your salmon, cod, shrimp, tuna, then your Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs, legumes, your grains, your nuts and seeds, all that sort of stuff. And again, I kind of name those to an extent in a hierarchy from best to worst. Not best to worst, because one's not worst. It's just, again, it's kind of from the standpoint of convenience, and it's from the standpoint of protein to calorie ratio is how I kind of came up with the listing of each of these things. And then lastly, how much protein should you be consuming? Around 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, anywhere from about 120 to 150 grams of protein per day. Unless you wanted, if you weighed 150 pounds and you needed to get down to 120, then you would take 0.7 times 120, which I should have done off the top of my head, but I didn't. Let's just say it's around 90 to 120 grams of protein per day. So that's how you do it. And then the last thing that I'll say about fiber and protein is you can also think about it on a meal by meal basis. So you can think of, for fiber, about 7 to 15 grams of fiber per meal. And then for protein, about 20 to 50 grams of protein per meal. And if you can just hit that, get those small wins at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then it'll stack up and make this thing a whole lot easier. So I would really recommend that you guys walk away from this episode, number one, by thinking about, okay, where am I at? Am I somebody who's like eating fast food regularly? I don't really know how to improve my eating habits. And so eating real food just needs to be your goal. If that's the case, then you can think about, okay, what's the process-oriented behavior that will help me start moving the needle, making progress on my health and fitness? Okay, eating around 17 out of 21 meals as one ingredient meals. And if it's not 17, fine, so be it. Make it 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever it is for you, whatever you feel like you can manage, whatever you feel like is an improvement for you, do it. So if eating real food, it needs to be your goal, figure out how many one ingredient meals out of 21 you can eat per week. Then number two, if calorie management is something that you feel interested in exploring, then do a TDEE calculator, understand how many calories you should be consuming on a regular basis, and then start to be more aware of looking at the food label, seeing how many calories are in things and things of that nature. It's not something everybody needs to do, but getting some sort of understanding and education of it and feel for it can be really powerful. And then if you feel like, I have no idea if I eat enough fiber, start looking at it. Start tracking the next few days. Do I eat 5 grams of fiber? Do I have 25 grams of fiber? Am I anywhere near this thing? Start tracking and know that 25 to 40 per day is ideal at minimum. And then same thing with protein. Like if you're not sure, start checking. Start checking. I would say that a lot of people would be probably surprised to see that their fiber and protein is not where it should be optimally. And the last thing I'll say before I finish off this episode is, oftentimes when you're listening to like a nutrition coach or a nutritionist talk about these sorts of things, we think it's do or die. We think, oh my gosh, if I don't hit my protein goal today, my muscle is going to waste away. It's not like it's like that. All of these things are on a least optimal to most optimal scale, right? Like if you don't hit your protein and fiber goals every day, like so be it. I don't hit my protein and fiber goals probably every single day. I probably do most days, just to toot my own horn, I guess. But I probably don't hit them every day, right? And I don't necessarily like today, I might not hit my protein goal because my mother-in-law made a fresh loaf of sourdough and we had it. And so I had avocado toast for lunch. And avocado toast is sourdough, avocado, olive oil, salt and pepper, and no protein, basically, which is why I had a beef stick with it. So I got myself 10 grams of protein. But I'm probably not going to hit the ideal amount of protein today. But like, is my muscle going to waste away because of it? No. So don't overly obsess about it. Try to hit it as best you can most of the time. That's what I want to leave you with. Again, the last 10WT goes from October 6th to December 12th. Let's finish off the year strong. Go to nickcarrier.com/10WT to sign up. But I hope today helps you get closer to your health and fitness goals. And I hope today allows you to get closer and closer to your best you.